All praises and glory, honor be unto Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, my teachers, the elders of GMS, and then salutations to the brethren around the world, you know, the men of GMS and the sincere brethren that are teaching this word in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. This is going to be the third installation of the white man's duty to history was to rewrite it. And we're just going to jump right into it. Okay? So we finished off part 2 at the book of Maccabees, about the 19th verse. I'm going to just start at verse 20. And it says, Judas Maccabeus and his brethren and the people of the Jews, because you know the Lord often says things repeatedly, you know, and when he in a lot of scripture he'll say, and the Israelite and them of Jerusalem, or things of that nature. He's talking about, so he'll say, he's referring to the same thing 2 and 3 times, and there's a word for it, which is leaving me. I can't recall that word. But anyway, it says, the people of the Jews have sent us unto you to make a confederacy and peace with you, that we might be registered your confederates and your friends. So this is speaking of the Romans. This is why you have a book of Romans, because it's talking about the Israelites that went wrong. I'm about to prove that. And it says, so the matter pleased the Romans well. And this copy of the epistle which the Senate wrote back, so this is an official document, and I'm willing to bet that this document is sitting in the Vatican somewhere. All right, but if not in the Vatican, then maybe it's sitting in the Smithsonian Museum. You best believe the Edomites have this document. Okay. It said, and this copy of this epistle which the Senate wrote back, again in tables of brass. So it's in brass too. They have this, and it's sent to Jerusalem. And that there they may have by them a memorial of peace and confederacy. So basically, Judas Maccabees made the horrible mistake of joining on to his enemy. All right, which, you know, it's all prophecy though. It wasn't time for Israel to rule. They fought against they were fighting against the Grecians, those Edomites, and they were actually having success, but then the Romans rose up out of the Grecians, because the Romans and the Grecians were both Edomites, Idumeans. Although it was the Grecians who started referring to themselves as Idumeans, you know, that line of Antipater, all right? And it says, good success, verse 23, good success to be the Romans and the people of the Jews by the sea and by the land and forever. And the sword also and the enemy be far from them. If there come first any war upon the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominions, the Jews should help them, and the time shall be appointed with all their heart. So how are they going to help them? But they joined unto them and became in their ranks, man. So just like they joined the military. So that meant Israelite, Roman soldiers, black soldiers. Let's prove that. Let's get 2 points. First point is Acts 31. We're going to get a scripture referring to the Jews. This is Acts 13, Salakia 13 and 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, which were called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. All right. So it's talking about a black Israelite, for lack of a better term, because the Bible says that. Because, you know, the Edomites love to label the Israelites, the men of GMS and other Israelite groups, as black Israelites, even though you got an army of so-called Hispanic men out there doing the work of the Lord as well. But it's a, you know, just goes to show you that they're panicking, they're afraid, and that they're just filthy liars, man. All right, because it's Israelites. It's not a black Israelite. It's an Israelite thing. All right, but that proves their visage. As a matter of fact, let's get a scripture. See, and this wasn't even in my little script, but you know, I'm just going off the spirit. Let's go to what is that? Their visage. That's in where is that? Is that in Songs of Solomon? A Lamentation. Yeah, that's in Lamentation. We're referring to the because that Acts, that scripture, well, that wasn't planned, and neither was this one. But it's just to prove a point. All right. And this is mainly for the new people that might be watching, or even a scoffer that doesn't want to agree with what I'm saying, because actually I'm not saying that the Bible is, and history is saying it. This is Lamentations 4:8. All right, and at the top of it, let me show you in my Bible. It refers to them at the Lamentation, at the top of Lamentations, the 4th chapter, right at the very top. It says, "The precious sons of Zion." The precious sons of Zion, Israelites. Now I'm gonna go down to verse 8. All right. "Their visage is blacker than a coal." Niggers. The Israelites were black, or for lack of a better term, they were a brown-skinned people. They actually weren't black. That's just what people called them, because they were dark. They're actually brown. There really is no such thing as a black human being. You either different shades of brown, from a dark brown to a light caramel brown, all right, or you're red, and you got different shades of red. You got that pale red where you can see the blue veins through their skin, and then you got that really red, that pink, that pinkish red. All right, you just got, so just like there's different shades of brown to people of color with melanin, there are different shades of red to people who have a lack of melanin. To add insult to injury, to drive a further dagger into the point, let's get the word. So I got a couple pages marked. Let's get the word nigger, because it said in Acts 13 that they were nigger. They were called nigger. And best believe it's actually pronounced nigger, not niger. And I'm going to prove that. Here's the definition of nigger in the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia Edition, Biblical References. This is nigger. Dark-skinned one. Nigger, black. A Negro. Now usually contemptuous or vulgar term. Now it's a contemptuous or vulgar term. So it wasn't a contemptuous or vulgar term. It was simply just a way of explaining who or what a person looked like. It wasn't meant to be rude or an insult. So, and they're letting you know that right there. And it gives you how it's pronounced. There it is. I'll pause it. You can read it for yourself. Let me get that in frame. Right. Pause it and read it. And you can even see the pronunciation is nigger. Okay? Back to my definition I was holding. So lock it for that. Kind of went off reservation for a moment. I am off the reservation. But went off the reservation for a moment. You know. Let's get back on point. But let me just find that word that I was holding, because we're gonna look at when I read it out of this book. And just give me a second. Lock your brothers and you sisters that may be watching. But I do this for two reasons. First reason is to try and secure my seat on the chariot, point blank. He said, work out my own salvation with fear and trembling. All right, and that's what I'm trying to do. And then secondly, I am earnestly and honestly trying to edify the elect, trying to edify my people, trying to wake up the 12 tribes of the elect. Hell, you know what? Even let you heathens know what it is. Okay? That was a little hood talk right there. But yeah, found my definition. Good. I'm going to just continue reading. Going back into the book of Maccabees. And I'll read verse 25 again. The people of the Jews shall help them as a time they shall be appointed with all their hearts. So they're going to help the Romans to fight. And how they're going to do that? By joining unto them, being in their military reserves. This is First Maccabees. This scripture is coming out a lot as lately. This is First Maccabees, the 10th chapter, the 36th verse. I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews, unto whom pay shall be given as belongeth to all the king's forces. So they were enlisting into the Roman army, man. Israelites were serving the Romans, man. They were in the military. They became a confederacy with them, just the way they put Buffalo Soldiers in the Civil War, just the way they use Gadite scouts. That to you unlearned people, that the Gadites are children of Jacob, one of the tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel, who are the Native Americans, and they were put into the military as well and used as scouts, man. All right, let's get another very important point, and go to Acts, the 10th chapter. All right, because the false doctrine that's taught by the so-called white men in the churches is that salvation came to all the heathens through Cornelius. Well, Cornelius was an Israelite. That's why he was devout. When he's talking about devout, that's talking about an Israelite who was devout to the law, that was devout to the scriptures, man. This is Acts 10:1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. The Italian band was in Rome, and we just read the historical documents in the Apocrypha. You could also find it in the Josephus, where just this one instance that 30,000 Jews were enrolled into the Roman army. You think it stopped with them? No, they continued to enroll them. The Jews were in Rome for how long? So that people were serving. So some of the centurions that were walking among, and see, that's how Esau got you all twisted and screwed up, because once again, when he shows you through the Hollywood movies, through his media, he's showing you in his movies all white Romans for the most part. All right, he never shows you a diverse army of Romans, which is the same way that the military is today in America. In modern day Rome, it was the same way in ancient Rome. All the nations that have been conquered and enslaved, which were now citizens, kind of like the way the Negroes and Latinos were, because Latinos, natives, and Negroes were all slaves in America at some point in time. And now you will find all three of those different tribes in American military, in the American police forces. You'll find them in the FBI and the CIA. You'll find them in the sheriff departments. All right? Because why? They've been Hellenized all over again. All right? They're for this country and not for their own people. Okay? Because you can't be for your own people and be a CIA agent. You can't be for your own people and be an FBI agent. If you think that, you're very foolish and very unlearned, and basically you're a traitor to your own. All right? And you're aligning yourself with your enemy, and it's as simple as that. And you will pay. Okay, let's go back to the Maccabees, verse 26. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them in victuals, weapons, money, or ships. It seemed good unto the Romans that they should keep their covenants and taking anything therefore. So they allowed them, the ones who followed the law, statutes, and commandments, to remain so. Thus the rise of Paul. And matter of fact, this is why there was a book to the Romans, because what? It was to the Israelites that were at Rome. And I'm going to prove that by going to the book of Romans. Let's go to the book of Romans. Go to the first chapter. All right. The epistle of Paul to the Romans. What Romans? Not the Edomite, Idumean Romans, but to the Israelites that were there. Okay? Like Cornelius. That's why Cornelius was devout, because he woke up to the fact that he was an Israelite. All right? And see, a lot of these people became Hellenized. That's why you have the definition of the Hellenists. Because after 3, 4, 5 generations, your family is practicing American holidays. They're not practicing their heritage. Okay, so the same thing was in ancient Rome, man. But this is Romans verse 7. To all that be in Rome, beloved of Yahawah, called to be saints. So it didn't say to all. The only thing that's beloved of Yahawah is the Israelites. Period. Period. All right. It says called to be saints. Grace to you and peace from Yahawah our Father, personal pronoun, and the Lord Yahawashi Hamashiach. So Yahawashi Hamashiach and Yahawah, Yahawashi are only for their people. And if you can't get that, it's because you don't want to get it, or because it doesn't benefit you. That's the issue. It doesn't benefit you, especially if you're a heathen, man. This Bible, these scriptures have nothing to do with you. Okay? You could go watch that Edomite cries when she hears salvation is for Israel only video. You know, when she got it. There's more than a plethora of scriptures that come out to prove that, man. All right? This is verse 29. According to these articles, did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews? So, you know what? I got a precept written down. I don't remember why I wrote it, so let me just peek at it first. Let me peek at it. Slovakia. Just want to know why I wrote that down. Okay, yeah. This is Esther 8 and 17. And in every province and in every city, wheresoever the king's commandment and his decree came to Jews, and his joy and gladness, a feast, a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. So basically, this is the birth of the whole Jewish thing, because these Herodians, these Edomites, these so-called white people, started referring to themselves as Jews. Back into the Apocrypha. Verse 31. Howbeit hereafter the one party of the other shall think meet to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures. And whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified. All right? And as touching of the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, we have written unto him, saying, wherefore hast thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates of the Jews? If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by the sea and by land. So the Romans saying, if you come against these Israelites who are now a part of our land, our country, our government, we will fight against you. So that was the Egyptian against the Egyptian. So the Romans were all about the Romans at that point. They didn't give a damn if you was their brethren according to the flesh. If you weren't calling yourself by the new name they prescribed for themselves and following their new ways, because they admitted in Roman society that they were the descendants of the Grecians, but they thought themselves to be above or better than the Grecians, and that's obvious. Okay? So with that, I'm going to get some info out of books you heard and put icing on this cake and finish this series, man. This is to prove my point, you know. This is, and I brought this out before. This is who was Esau Edom. I think I paid like $15, under $20 for this book about 7 years ago. This book now is like well over $100. That's Esau trying to put a lid on his truth, because his truth is hurting and embarrassing him, because it is the truth. But and page 7 in the second paragraph, Nabathians, actually, I'll read the top. The Edomites were driven from Petra westward by the Nabathians, And before the middle of the 2nd century, they were occupying not only southern Judah, but also Hebron. And the country is north as far as Bethzar. And it gives you that account in Maccabees, the 4th chapter, the 29th verse, and in 1st Maccabees, the 5th chapter, the 65th verse. The Nabateans now occupied Mount Seir, and the Edomites were driven into old territory of Judah. The Maccabean family, a remnant of the true Judites, so they're letting you know that because why? Because these Edomites, these Idumeans, were calling themselves Jewish, as they do to this day. And that's why people are so confused about that. All right, who the really is, because the Israelites' heritage was taken from them, and they've been called niggers and spics, blacks and Africans and African Americans and coloreds and beaners and spear chuckers and tree niggers. They, you know, the 12 tribes have been called everything except what they are. All right. And the white man through his media. And what's the root word of media? Medium. What do mediums do? Mediums communicate with spirits and demons, man. They're all witches and warlocks. So the TV is a part of witchcraft, because they put spells on you, and they tell you lies. All right. It says the true Judites that ruled in Judea 166 to 37 BC under Judas Maccabees, 1 Maccabees 5 and 3, recaptured the city of Hebron from the Edomites in 164 BC during the time John Hyrcanus, all right, who was a nephew of Judas, were again faced with the hostility of the Idumeans. So those Greeks rose back up within the Roman Empire and were calling themselves Idumeans. Hyrcanus confronted the Edomites, causing a decisive change in relations between the two factions. John Hyrcanus conquered the whole of Edom and undertook the forced conversion of the inhabitants to Judaism. And that wasn't to bring them into the blessings. That after they defeated them, what they should have did was what King Saul did to King Agag, and not try to live with them. They should have been all slaughtered, but prophecies had to be fulfilled. All right. And it says, thenceforth, the Edomites became a section of the Jewish people. So they became, because the Israelites never referred to themselves as Jewish. That was the so-called white man who became Jewish, as in Esther, the 8th chapter, the 17th verse. And then they're giving you this history right here, this account. It says, thus at the juncture of the time, the Edomites were then incorporated with the Jewish nation, and their country was called by the Greeks and Romans Idumea. All right. But the tide turned in favor of the Edomite faction when Julius made Antipater an Edomite procurator in Judea in 47 BC. So see, you can't trust your enemy, man. Sirach 12 and 10, 12 and 8, 12 and 16. You cannot trust your enemy, because he turned around after all those things they wrote in brass, and then he put an Edomite over the real Jews, man. Thus the confusion today about who the Jews are, because you got these white. As a matter of fact, all my Jewish clients and people that I know, they're celebrating their Passover week. Passover already happened, man. They don't follow the laws in the Bible. They follow the Talmud and follow their own made-up customs, man. Okay? When Antipater was killed 4 years later, his son gained power and was rejected by the Judites. Herod shrewdly gained support of Rome, not the people, but of Rome. Why? Because they were all Edomites. With a Roman army, his heels turned to Palestine, and after 6 months siege, captured Jerusalem and became king of Judea. And then from there, we all know what happened, man. Judea finally went down, and all the real Israelites were scattered, and what was left of them was the southern kingdom, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, and the majority of them fled into West Africa, where they were later sold into slavery. Okay, and all this information came from Encyclopedia Judaica, Volume 6, 1971, page 378. The New Standard Jewish Encyclopedia, 1977, page 589, reiterates the same account. So these Edomites know that they're not Israelites, and they're telling you in their books, man. The 1925 Jewish Encyclopedia, page 41, also tells you that modern day Judea modern day Jewry is Edom, man. So they know that they're the Edomites, man. And here's the historical account. I'm gonna give you that information. Matter of fact, let me hold it up to the camera. So you can freeze it, pause it, and get it. And anybody, I'm going to try and get it myself, but anyone that can get this information, get it. Number 2 there. All right? So yeah, I'm going to read it again. Matter of fact, I read one as well. John D. Davis Dictionary Bible, 1934, page 32. Got to try and get that. The Jewish number 3, that source was the Jewish Encyclopedia, volume 5, 1904, page 41. So 1904, volume 5, page 41 also tells you that modern day Jewry is Rome, is Edom. So, and I'm going to read number 2 again. That source, which is 2, Encyclopedia Judaica, volume 6, 1971, page 378. And the New Standard Jewish Encyclopedia, 1977, reiterates the same account, all right, that I just read. Now, I'm going to read one more time in William Beeston's book, the Roman Empire of the Edomite, 1853. Okay? I'm going to read page 9 and page 10. All right? And then I'm going to read Isaiah, the 34th chapter, a couple verses, verses 5 and 6. Let me get Isaiah. Let me turn to that so I can be on point. 34, verse 5 through 6. Okay, got that on deck and ready to go. Page 9 in William Beeston's book. Unspeakable then our astonishment be when we perceive that the grand secret was certainly discovered and disclosed more than 1,200 years ago. The true answer to the question whence came the Romans may have been returned and even registered in writing before the birth of Hamashiach. The response proceeded neither from the Greek nor Roman, but from the despised Jew. And this is an Edomite that wrote this book, Cambridge scholar, by the way. William Beeston was from the College of, William Beeston, the Honorable Society of Lincoln's Inn, and sometime the Queen's College of Cambridge. So William Beeston was a Cambridge scholar. Okay? A so-called white man. This is Psalm 64 and 8 at its best. That the preserved of the Jewish targums that existed amidst the fables and impieties and absurdities, because it's absurd that these Jewish people are calling themselves the people of the Lord. It's absurd. All right. And the blasphemies of the Jewish Talmud, because it is a blasphemous book. All right. And that it may be comprehended in these 20 words. The Romans came from Esau, who is Edom. And Italy is Idumea, Rome, the Barbara of the Hebrew prophets. And Barbara is to be wiped out and destroyed. The descendants of Esau, say Jewish rabbins, sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob, and they are, even to the end of the world. We're at the end of the world. World War III is happening, man. There is no third woe. It said be the first and second woe have passed, and behold, the third one come quickly, man. This is it, man. This is the last woe. It's over. All right. World War III has begun already. All right. The dollar is crashing. I can only imagine the amount of trillions of dollars that are on their way back to America, being that the nations of the world are no longer using the American dollar as the world reserve currency being traded for goods and services worldwide. They're not using the dollar anymore. It's going to come back here, which is going to make the dollar in America hyperinflate, and your dollar's going to become almost worthless. You're probably going to be paying $20 for one loaf of bread eventually. And people are going to, and the riots were there in pursuit and the chaos. Even until the end of the world, which at first a small nation inhabited Mount Seir, an adjacent country contiguous to the land of Canaan, they were easily confined within their own limits. And you can also find this information in Allen's Modern Judaism, London, 1816. I'm giving you all this information, man. Everything can be, see, that's just it. People will make their dumbass comments on this video, and I'm giving you the references, not to mention that I'm reading it right out of the Bible, out of definitions, written from books that were written by your own scholars. So now you people, you're smarter than your scholars, or you don't acknowledge your scholars anymore? Because anything that when they because you sure acknowledge them when they put up Cesare Borgia and when they put this lie up and push this lie to the world that this that this is what the Jews look like. When they put that lie up, you believed your scholars. And now that your scholars are telling on themselves and telling you the truth, now you want to believe it. Because myself, the men of GMS, our apostles, we didn't make any of this up. This is all your own information. All right? And I hope it is hurting your feelings and making you mad. Fuck you. So, Salakia. It says, as the Israelites enjoyed a great formidable empire in Canaan, but after that powerful republic, the 12 tribes had been destroyed by the Assyrians, Babylonians. They wonderfully increased in numbers and in strength, extended their dominion into the west, subjugated Italy, founded Rome in the Roman Empire, and the length entirely overturned the Jewish state. The second temple being destroyed by Titus, so that Wailing Wall is all a bunch of lies, because when you read the scriptures, Yahawashi clearly told you that there wouldn't be any rock left standing, man. The Wailing Wall is what's left of Fort Antonia, a place where Roman soldiers housed themselves, Edomite Roman soldiers. All right, they were fighting against the Jews. Because you best believe, well, I imagine, though, there was some coons. No, there was, as in a historical count, but I don't want to change the lesson. There was, just like you got coons today that will stand with the FBI, the CIA, the police, and destroy their own people. Because that's how the drug get into America, through the CIA. All right? And who goes to jail and dies in the streets, mostly over drugs? Jake does. All right, and if you are a law enforcement officer, you are part of the organization that's destroying your own people. All right, the temple, the second temple being destroyed by Titus Vespasian and professing the religion of Yahawashi Mashiach, which they were first of all nations to embrace. They hold Jacob in captivity till the Messiah, Ben David, shall appear. The son of David will appear, and he did, and he already left. The rabbins further assert that the prophecies of the prophets of Esau, Edom, and the cities of Edom have yet received but partial accomplishment, and they shall obtain fulfillment and punishment and destruction of Rome Christian. Right, so they know that the Roman Christian church is going to be destroyed. They designate the eternal city of impious Rome. They denominate her empires the impious kingdom, or kingdom of impiety, and they believe that the son of David will not come until the impious kingdom shall have been extended over the whole world, which is America. America got dominion over the whole world. So what they're saying is now that they know that the end is going to come. And let's look up that word, impious. That was a word I was holding. Okay, so they knew that the Roman kingdom was going to spread to the whole world, and it did, because America's Rome all over again. Just look at all our museums, our courthouses, and our buildings. Even the Constitution is written in with Roman numerals, man. The laws and the amendments are written with Roman numerals. This is impious, all right. And I'm gonna read down to and I'll show it to you. It says, in reverence for God, irreligious, wicked, profane. So it's a wicked, profane nation that America is, and through America, Rome was reborn from the Renaissance all the way up until now. And the whole world has been infected through the wickedness and the sickness of that which is called Esau, which can only be destroyed by Yahawashi, not by our own hands. We have no power to do such a thing. Esau's blessing was the sword, man. I just watched a video with Apostle Elder Gabar showing you how these Edomites are going to the gun range, practicing how to use their blessing, which is the modern day sword, is the firearm, man. And that practice is how to speed, shoot, reload, speed, shoot, reload, speed, shoot, reload. And the targets that they're using are actually Jacob, man. They're using tribes of Judah, man. I imagine they probably got some ragheads and all that other stuff targets too, but they're using Jacob's targets, man. So let's read this oh, that's Ezekiel. I need to be in Isaiah. Salakia. Isaiah the 34th chapter. Verses 5 through 6. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse. Okay? To judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood, and it is made fat with the fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat and kidneys of rams. The Lord hath sacrificed in Basra a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. It's over for you Edomites. Shalom, Israel.